Right, I'm going to go ahead and start this evening off. Very welcome to everyone who's here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you here. And before we get started, I'd just like to go through some housekeeping. We are recording the session, so you will receive a copy of the recording once we have finished the webinar. It usually gets sent out the day after. We will also have time for a Q&A session, so please do share your questions with us, but please note that they'll only be answered at the end of the session. If there are any questions that we don't have time to answer, we will answer those via email. If you'd like to send the questions via email instead of asking it live today, please email your questions to sales@printess.com. And I would like to introduce you to my very esteemed colleague, Christopher Clement, who is the co-founder of Printess, and he will be telling us a little bit more about Printess.
Yes, sure, Tessa. Thank you. So what is the mission of Printess? The point is why we call it the only editor. And Jill just leave the slides. It is because we're going for one goal to provide an online customization solution which actually suits all different products, from simple engraving products over embroidery until the whole range through to a complete photo book with multiple of hundreds of pages. So that is the thing we're doing. We are strictly focused on the graphic design, customization and production workflow. And we will not, for example, build our own e-commerce solution. So we integrate everywhere. I will tell you a little bit more about that. But this is our sole focus, to have that journey and the creation process of graphic design assets as smoothly and seamlessly as possible. Yeah, go for the next slide, Tessa. Um, we are around since 2020, so this is a good thing because we started with on a technology base with modern browser tech. So we don't carry around all the old loads. We could use really the modern technology like all that WASM and C++ and modern CSS in the browser, which helps us a lot. Our history goes further longer. Me, myself, and my one of our three partners was also founding Direct Smile back in the days. Maybe some of you still know. And that's been a long journey with a lot of different tech stacks and a lot of editing solutions. But nowadays, browsers are finally where we always wanted to have them, so that they can real applications. And that doesn't count only for desktop, but also count for mobile. That's about that. So currently we are around a family with 130 plus customers, from very large to very small. And this is also the idea, since we're completely cloud-based SaaS solution, we don't have the ramp-up costs. We don't have all that thing around which stops people by just starting with printers and growing along. We produce over 50 million products a year on the platform. We are now already 17 plus people and have a fabulous uptime of nearly 100%, and growing at a 50% annual growth rate. So that's all the basic facts about printers. So let's dive a little bit into the product and the approach. So Printess is an API product. It doesn't make much sense to run on its own. We are completely white label. That is a big difference. So we deliver really good technology, but always on a white label point. People always ask us what's the difference between something like Printess and, for example, Canva. The main difference is that we serve the industry and we are not behind your customers. Even if sometimes, because our website looks so colorful, for some people it appears like we are an end consumer solution. We're doing software for end consumers because it's what we all need. People are using our websites and ordering products, but we are not in contact. We are completely B2B company, and we are completely white label solution. API first means, oh, sorry,
Oh,
let's go
excuse
back.
me.
API first means it is it is always integrated somewhere. So we provide customers with ready-made integrations in all of the major shop systems, but also it can be a custom shop. Many of the large customers have their complete own setups and their own integrations. It actually doesn't matter because it's meant to be integrated. Okay, now we can go on. Yeah, we want to keep that presentation short. So it's actually, I think it's only two more slides on that. So conversion first. Um, I know that story for a long time since we are around that market for a very long time, um, and conversion was never kind of the first thing you would mention when talking about a customization solution. But this is different with printers. We feel super responsible for the success we have together with our clients. Maybe also because we are a SaaS solution, kind of click-based model. So the more revenue you do, the more happy we are. But also because it's so incredibly important, and especially nowadays, 85% of the shopping carts are created on mobile. It is super tricky to get all that customization experience perfectly well on a mobile device because we are basically by definition interrupting the sales process because we have a customization solution. It would be easier if the people could just buy the stuff, but problem is they need to customize. So we need to focus on that journey and make it as easy for the users to build these journeys and making the journeys itself as flawless as possible. So that's about conversion. And the last slide, a little bit about technology. So what we have done is we build a Adobe grade design tool in the browser from scratch. So when it comes to typography and WYSIWYG and possibilities, we are much more accurate than all other web tools, even the ones from Adobe. They have the perfect tools on the desktop, but the web tools are actually also struggling a little bit with the typography. And the problem is that on a larger scale, when it comes to customization, this is one of the key factors: reliability and that you can totally reliability in two ways: reliability in production safety that all jobs go through, and also reliability in that they all look like they looked on the screen before. This is a huge factor, and this is actually something that drives us from the first day on, and it was honestly super hard to achieve. We spent years to build complete own typography engines to make all that happen across all the different platforms, across all the different browsers and devices, to ensure that what you see is not only beautiful and and super graphical, but also exactly what you can print. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Christoph. I'm going to hop in here and just chat a little bit about the big picture before we move on to the demonstration side. We know that customers demand fast and easy on-demand experiences. They want to be able to achieve their goal within a few clicks, and the longer it takes for them to go from start to end, the more likely they are to abandon their shopping cart. We also know that there is so much competition out there for you in the Q4 peak season. So having something as powerful as our tools that we'll be showing you a little bit later, like the Slim UI, might just give you the edge over a different competitor in order to make sure that you succeed in the sale. We also know that from a study that Baymar did recently that preview confidence reduces your cart abandonment. They found that about 70% of carts get abandoned, and it's right at the end of the process. And we believe that a lot of that is due to the customer being unsure about the result that they're going to have at the end of that personalization experience. We know that 80% of customers are going to purchase when they're offered personalized products. So, if you look at something like a mug, which we know is a very popular product, just having something like a personalized text or photograph on there is 80% more likely to sell than a generic mug. And then, of course, we also know that the personalized products increase the average order value by about 20 to 30%. So it helps boost sales just by offering something as simple as adding a bit of text or a single image upload, as well as more complex personalization to your products. So moving on to our first product, this is something I'm super passionate about, the Magic Photobook. It's for consumers. It's for people who don't know anything about creating products. They're not designers. I have been working in the industry for 20 plus years. I'm terrible at managing my photos despite knowing how important it is. So I have a big preference for the Magic Photo Book. And what I'll do is share a little demonstration with you so you can see it in person. These are my own personal images that were taken in a trip to the UK a few years ago. And whilst it's busy uploading, you'll see that the Magic Photobook algorithm actually is analyzing your images. It's looking at things like, is the image blurred? Are eyes open or closed? Is there heads that are cropping off? Is there things that need to be discarded like receipts? So it goes through that whole process whilst it's busy analyzing the images. Of course, the more images you have, the longer it takes, but never really more than 2 to 3 minutes. And over here, you can see that the user has a suggested amount of pages and images per page. If I reduce that or increase that, or I ask for less pages or more pages, that will also change the layout of the images on the pages. So going back to the suggested 28 pages, I'm going to create my book. And again, it's looking at the story within the photographs and it's actually clustering the images together to create a sensical book that has stories that are that make sense for me as the person who took the photos. And even when you've got images that haven't been optimally taken, you can see that it's looking at things like whether the face is being cropped. So even if there's a different image there, you can it places the image in the correct spot and makes sure that the heads aren't being cropped off even when it's close to the edge. We have the option of still editing the book. So if I go through my book and I feel like it's really just not using the type of layout that I would like to use, or I want to add more or less photos per page, I can simply drag and drop a layout over to the page and it will then recreate the page with the images that were in there. We also have a fabulous color scheme option where you can choose between different color schemes that you create prior to making the book live. You can recreate the book, or you can change the theme of the book. So this obviously is a travel book, so something plain or something that hasn't got too much detail. I can choose to do a diamond theme, which we have over here, and it automatically recreates the book with that theme in place. That is a huge game changer because we know that up until now, most providers do not offer this on the go as we have it here. You'll have to start the product from scratch, which, of course, as we know, clients are more likely to abandon the project if they have to re-put in a lot of work. And now you can see that even though I've changed the theme, the images are still beautifully placed. It's still telling a wonderful story of my trip with my friends. And this is a book that personally I would be willing to order immediately. I can also go and edit. We have some wonderful, wonderful themed stickers that can be edited. You can see right here, we've got things like the happy birthday, but I can actually go and edit the text in there. So I can change it from saying happy birthday to saying Harry Potter Studios Chantel. And immediately what it's doing is it's actually changing the sticker on the go. This is also a beautiful game changer for especially the people who are sitting designing the books at the end and the themes. We in the past used to have to upload things like clip art or static PNG images in order to create these things that we refer to as stickers. Um, Printess thought about the problems that clients are having about having these huge sticker libraries where they are having to load a sticker for each theme or each particular event, and it was just backing up their space. Now you can go, you can change it, you can change the colors, you can make it something that fits in more with the color of the book or what you're busy doing. And of course, personal preference, you can also change the font. You can do all sorts of editing in just the click of a button or two.
And all the stickers are made in Printess itself.
Yes,
So they're
absolutely.
not kind of coded somewhere. These all the layouts, even the themes. That's also a big difference is that the themes can be done in Printess itself. By the way, if you now change the color scheme, you might see some differences because the first was a very plain layout. where we didn't have any background. That was the purpose of that. But now once we are switching to a colorful, a real scheme with some
Yeah.
with theme, with some graphic design, then the color schemes kick in. Um, yeah, sorry.
Another really awesome feature, this is one of my absolute favorites. It is a lifesaver for a person who has absolutely no design experience, is our splitter tool. So even though we have got predefined templates that the client, layouts that the clients are using, they could still go and edit a product in any way that they'd like. And it gives them even spacing regardless of what they are doing and how they are changing the images. Always have the option of making a whole new template by themselves without actually destroying the layout. And we've made a very simple tool where you can choose the gaps between the images. So you can choose a smaller gap if you want the images to be closer together. You can choose an extra large gap if you want them to be further spaced. But you can be guaranteed that the spaces will always be exactly the same regardless. This is, of course, wonderful for your customer because they can potentially put in an image and never have to worry about the image being cut off or uneven borders in the trimming because the spaces are always the same.
Yeah, like when you remove the gap around, it goes to the bleed area, one of the biggest problems. So that's not the goof, just the last button, just the last button in the grid control, the gap.
Oh,
Exactly. This is actually where you add gaps, and then when you remove it, it's the same like if you have a zero gap, it keeps the gap in between the images, but it always ensures that the bleed area is well made, so there are no customer problems noted about that.
and yeah, that is the Magic Photo Book. So if you've got any questions about that, please pop them in the Q&A section. We'll address them later. I will be handing over now to Christoph, who will be telling us a little bit more about our Slim UI.
Yeah, now for something completely different. Another new feature of the last month, since our last webinar released. The Slim UI attacks a complete other kind of problem. Whenever we're talking photo books, we definitely need that tools because we don't know who is in front of the computer. Is it someone who would just want to get it as quick as possible, or someone who want to spend weeks designing a photo book? Both is possible. The problem in our industry is we never know which customer is sitting in front of the computer. So, but there are other templates, and especially when we look for, so we let's go, I'm on the Shopify at printess.com on the sample site. It's also linked up from our homepage. On the homepage, by the way, let me just mention that it's so important because we're super transparent. So all the examples, even the one just Tessa showed, the photo book, you will find it, and many more. You will find all the examples here to play around, and so you can also open it on your mobile device and check the experience on mobile. Um, and yeah, let's go to the Shopify store because I'm showing that in our Shopify integration because it's kind of it needed to have a shop to be understandable. So going to the Slim UI category, especially for simple products, like for example the cheese board here, it is like opening an editor, loading an editor for basically a little bit of text personalization sometimes seems a little bit too much. So what we do is an integration which is super slim. That's why we called it like that. It loads only a couple of kilobytes and it does server-side rendering, but it does pretty quick. So if I enter my name here on the cheese board or change the cheese board to chessboard, I don't know. It doesn't even if it's wrong, but you will see that this preview is updating. It's a beautiful, uh, um, lovely engraving preview here for that product. It's all actually what we need. So that's about what Tessa was talking about. Previews are so important, and with printers, previews are always one of our most important and most liked feature, and especially everybody can build them easily. But what we have is a user interface which lives directly in the product description page. So the only thing I do is I'm never leaving the shop. I'm not going to an editor. I'm just in the shop. I'm on the preview side, on the product description side. I can change my data and I can add it to basket, which we all also, by the way, do in a different way when you connect that to Amazon or on any other platform. Yeah, so let me go back to the catalog and have a look at some other Slim UI products because it can go more wild. The champagne glass, of course, it's like the same. Huh? That's I can change the font and I can just enter my name and just in a different way of preview. So it's kind of inline working in the preview with an immediate preview, which is pretty nice and clean. But if we are going to a more complicated product, like for example, this personalized child book, which is in a way very similar to what we see when we look at B2B personalization. That's something I recently discovered that um, customizing a menu board for beverage company, for example, is not much different than a personalized child book because it's so-called form-based. So all form-based products are ideal for the Slim UI. So form fields means I have form fields where a person basically enter my data. Whereby in the Photobook or other products, you can actually select frames and work inline like in Word or in InDesign or in any kind of design tool. So form-based means I got all my settings on the right-hand side here. So again, I put my name in and it appears not only on the cover here, but it appears also here on the inside on the text and as well as the gender changes and everything. All this is like an old sample product from Printess, but now in the Slim UI. So let's change the skin color here and maybe the hair color and switch it to from a boy to a girl, which also changes the text, but you have the immediate preview here, and you also see beautiful previews of the book in a photorealistic environment. And all of them are created right away whenever I change something. Um, Last example I wanted to show, because Slim UI goes even further. Even if it's an idea of a limited UI, it goes even further and it can do things like, for example, a framed canvas here. And the framed canvas is pretty much like a photo mug or any kind of a photo product can also be done with the Slim UI. So in that case, I can, for example, set my frame color here, and I will get a frame color. I can upload an image here on that page, and let me just pick one image. And maybe we got a resolution warning as well here. And even the resolution is pretty good. It's maybe not set up so, but I can still work and crop and change the cropping area of that photo. But also I could also go and just rotate the photo or whatever, all the fancy stuff. So I got the options, but it's super simple because there is no clicking here beside the zoom in clicking, which is a normal e-commerce behavior. There is no more interaction here. It's a super simple product, but even if it is, it supports a lot of the Printess things. So for example, layout snippets, which is one of the heavily used features in Printess, which means I can offer different layouts on a single product, and these layouts can be offered on various products. So let me go to that two circles here. So if I upload another image, maybe a little bit of different one, whatever it is, from that trip to Milano, and I got now the both pictures here. Of course, I can change again the cropping area, but also what I can do now, and Printess is also very good in resizing layouts. So I can go from the portrait in that case to a larger, small square frame, which gives me then this result, and also in perspective here with the sofa, so I know, okay, that's the real size how it will look on my wall and all in one image. And I can change the background to the most ugly ones I can find here. Maybe not. Yeah. So that is about Slim UI to its extent, and yeah, and text also. So for example, it can be that one of the layouts has a text field. Whenever a layout has a text field, it shows a text field. So it's a limited functionality, but it still has a lot of power. And imagine that this is done just in the in product description page of Shopify. That's pretty cool. And we also will have the button here to say, I want to continue editing what I have already started in the complete editor. Then I get stickers and it can move frames around and all that stuff. But a lot of people might not want to do that. So we need to can give them a gradual way through the e-commerce experience. But this is not the end, but could simply press the button and say, now open me my state in the editor, and I take it from there and I customize it even further. Yeah, when putting it to basket, it adds it to basket. And in the basket, I also should see my preview, my thumbnail here, which I have done, and I can go back to edit and so on and so forth. Yeah, thank you. That's about from my side on the Slim UI.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christoph. And as Christoph mentioned there as well, we know that customers can get intimidated quite quickly if they have to do just a few basic things with the product and are given a full advanced editor. So this is also a beautiful way of keeping them in the same environment and not giving them that very overwhelming amount of options if they just want to do some basic editing as well. So the last product that we would like to share with you is our Printess MAKE, which is absolutely one of my favorites. It is like having a little designer in your pocket. It's there for whether you are an enterprise business or whether you are a small business. You can answer these three questions and it will populate for you beautiful, beautiful artworks that is editable and ready to work on. Let me show you. So these three questions helps the print and oops, excuse me, Giovanni's. Oh, I can't spell today.
You should.
I get the third time is the charm here. And it helps also that we are telling Make what our value proposition is, so it knows what kind of material to create for us.
We
So
would
I
say,
would
where do we
say
want to go? It's should be an Italian bakery or something. Maybe
our
you
restaurant.
you were just
Yeah, I
typing
can't
what you
talk and
told.
type at
Yeah.
the same
A
time.
restaurant. Okay, we're talking about a restaurant. So Giovanni's.
Oh, dearie.
So we got a little value proposition here to give just
Absolutely.
1 point, which means which thinks that our business stands out. And yeah, Print is now using a lot of AI to find the right wording, create the right images, find the proper layouts, and hopefully surprise us with something good. The good thing on
I
this AI stuff, you never know what comes up, huh?
Yes, it is really quite stressful sometimes for us to go through everything because we don't know what the result is going to be. But as you see here, it is absolutely beautiful variations. All of these artworks can be edited, and everything you see here has been produced on the fly based off those three prompts. So if I take this one over here, you can see that the copy over here, beautiful copy, indulge in the heart of Italy with the best traditional pizza and pasta. And it carries on with something that already makes you want to eat this food. And it's all done on the fly. Over there as well, telling you a little bit more about the restaurant. Let's say this is a 100th birthday sale and it's 25% off on all food. It's told the whole beautiful story about Giovanni's over here. You have something that's a bit more intriguing here with the theme, the color themes that we have. It's got all sorts of variations, whether you want to do red, black, pink, green, yellow, anything that you feel suits the menu. I actually quite like that dark reddish color because I think that it stands out beautiful with the wines. You have the ability to actually go and generate your own imagery as well. So all the images you see over here has been created for this specific product and is usable, of course, just by dragging and dropping it over. But if I wanted to change this glass of red wine to, let's say, a glass of white wine, obviously, the more you elaborate, the more beautiful the image will be. But just to show you how it works on the fly, there we have the white wine, and you can just adjust your imagery as you see fit. Um, all of these things here is editable. It's also has the option of changing the layout. So everything that we saw earlier is available here. So if for whatever reason I choose to change the design, it's literally just a drag and drop.
Mhm. And of course, you combine it with your own images, with your logos, because The idea here is, to put it very simple, is to use AI to create a foundation, but then have the tooling to consistently work on it. So let's say you are Giovanni's, and in that case, I think you're showing a flyer here. By the way, mention that again, all these samples are also on our homepage, so you can play around, and there is more like banners and posters, and also the flyer, which we see here, which is a two-page document. But whenever you do that, this can be integrated in a shop that all the data is kept, like everything Giovanni has told about itself, the imagery, and even maybe the combination with their own images that can be just kept as a stock. So next time Giovanni is coming for the spring season, find a different design and continues with all the data. Let me shortly tell why we have done Printess Make. We got the question quite a lot, what this industry, the printing industry in particular, can do to have something against huge competitors like Canva. And put this honestly, Canva is not a competitor only in the design space. They are definitely a huge competitor here for all the larger online printers, because they keep the customer, they take them away, and in the end they will just give them the print option, and then basically many of the printing companies are basically just the machines, which is where we all don't want to go for. So we need to be innovative ourselves, and this is where printers created Make as a white label solution. So we're not marketing it ourselves. It's definitely up to you, our customers, to bring it to market, and and have the contact to the customer, and keep that contact.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's basically why we started that. It's a kind of a little weird story, because by what we got, we approached a lot, and then you got these companies with these millions of design, and it's super hard to do that over the years. And then the AI thing came, and then you say, wow, now we get the chance, because there are obviously billions of images out there which can be created, and that made it possible to use AI instead of using millions of dollars to create hundreds of millions of designs. And also the tech stack of printers comes into play here, because we can do what I mentioned before. We are pretty good in rescaling designs. So whenever a design is there, we can scale it to square, portrait, landscape. So that means that a lot of these levels go away. Then we have AI for language and text generation. And if you, frankly, could zoom into one of the texts that people are able to read it, it's crazily good. You can even zoom deeper, because it's really worth to have a look on the wordings. Many wordings I've read is just phenomenal. How good the marketing, how good the agency work is nowadays done by things like all the chat GPTs and codes. And this is crazy. So we got not a language problem anymore, because we can set up the language and we can generate the text in the language which is needed. In combination with, we can create the images. And honestly, images are the major factor when it comes to design.
Yeah.
It's the image is actually what actually makes a design. The rest is not as important as the image. And then we get all the editability and the scalability, and we got the color scheme. So you can imagine that every of the things I've said, it's a multiplication by 100. So
Mhm.
you can think about how many, yeah, many million different variations I can create. And one of the other interesting things of the make approach is that when one dentist is using it in the same street like the other one, and they will get completely different messages and images. So it's not that you sell the same thing to the same people. Just to give a kind of a eagle view.
Overview.
Done. Mhm.
Also, I think, it's also really important to remember that those of us who've been in the industry for so many years, we know how many of our design resources were spent on trying to create artworks for clients and then going back and forth with the approval process, change this, make this a different color, change the font, this too big, this too small. It can take really weeks if you're sitting with the design team trying to get it the way you want. Sometimes we don't even know what we want until we've seen what we don't want. And that is a huge problem when it comes to designing marketing collateral. So now that all is eliminated, your clients can log on, they can answer the three questions, they have everything at their fingertips, and there is no back and forth. They can do it all because it's just that simple. So that is our Printess Make. We would love to open the floor now to our questions. If anybody has any questions, can we? Oh, yes. Okay, here are a few. Um, Let me stop this, Christoph. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
to answer the questions. So, this one is asking, can Slim UI be integrated into a custom store? So not Shopify or WooCommerce.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That's basically the idea that everything can be integrated everywhere and on the website and the knowledge base. I know there is some documentation that is in the making a little bit, but we already have nice code pens online which show this most simple integration in a couple of lines. And I got a customer integrated it last week, and it was crazy because he was already a Printers customer and he used to work with the other stuff in their shops. And they took the make, and then an hour later, I said, "Oh, it's all working. Thank you." So that was
Wow.
well, sometimes we got really the good news.
I can also say that I've recently been chatting to one of our partners who also said that the documentation was so great they never once needed to reach out. So we can confirm that even if some documentation is still being created, what is there is very simple to do without any intervention or need of support. The next question is, can Printess be used in collaboration with Amazon stores?
Yeah, that's also that's a tricky one. The Amazon marketplace, as we all know, it's a beast of its own, and we have recently created a lot of cool technology to read what Amazon is actually giving. It's more like an SVG-ish thing, to read all the data in and map it to templates so that the process can be is now much easier to get the data from Amazon and actually map it on something that you can really print, because that's not possible with that stuff, and replace it with the right images and keeping the cropping recs from the customer and all of that in a fairly automated process. We would love to automate everything 100%, but Amazon is actually not allowing us to do that. But all the cumbersome bits and pieces we have bought in a very good order. And the other important thing what customers are doing for a while now with printers is using the same template that they offer their customer on the full customizer experience in their shop, using the same template to offer at Amazon. But instead of having the editor experience there, they're getting the data out and they're feeding the data as a kind of a layer on top of the actual template. So, which means the maintenance, and this is one of the large work items in personalization, maintaining templates, is reduced to a single template instead of two or three or four for different platforms, which is also super helpful. So whenever there's more interest in that subject, we always let's take this offline, talk about it, and we guide you through.
Yes, absolutely. Please, if there's anything that we haven't answered to your liking or you just have more follow-up questions, please email us at sales@printess.com. The last question we have here is, you mentioned Printess being very good at resizing layouts. Could you tell us a little bit more?
Oh yeah, layouts can be built in various ways, and you showed, for example, the splitter. The splitter is kind of the super monster in rescaling. You will find on the website also lots of templates when it comes to photo products, where you then can later on change the canvas size and whatever, and you can pick any kind of layout, and you can witness yourself how these layouts adjust to the different sizes, which actually costs us a lot of, oh yeah, was a hard task. But the problem is we always want to offer the customers upselling once they have put work into their
Yeah.
designs in the later stage. And that's the main reason for that resizing. When you then come to the preview and you see, oh, my canvas looks pretty small on a big wall. Maybe I go for a bigger one, but the bigger one has a little different aspect ratio. So that needs to be adjusted. So we put a lot of effort in having various mechanics to that you can design templates which can scale um, scale well.
Yeah. I think it's really important just to reiterate that we literally can take one template and place it over different
Yeah.
products, not just different sizes, which to me is just mind blowing. As someone who used to have to recreate these templates in previous solutions, it made me crazy. I felt like a robot just doing the same thing over and over. But here we can take one layout that was created, let's say for a A4 canvas, it can go onto a mug, it can go onto a phone case, it can go onto a poster. It just goes onto all the products, and that is what makes it so amazing as well. So we would love to tell you more about that. Please email us to get a full demo from our team. I think that is all that we have. That's all the questions that we have today as well. We want to just thank you so much for your time and for joining our webinar. As I said, we will be sending out the recording, and I ask you to please follow up any of your questions to sales@printess.com. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, morning, evening. We will see you next time.
Thank you. And maybe see you on Printing United. Thanks.
Yes,
Have a
yes,
good
that's right.
day.
Sorry. Yes, we will be attending Printing United on the 22nd to the 24th of October at stand 2211. So please come and visit us at the Orange County Convention Center, testing my memory skills. And we would love to show you in-person demo as well. Thank you.
Thank you.